As has recently been reported by various news outlets, Arsenal have been given the green light by the Kroenke family to spend around £250 million during this summer's transfer window. This comes after Arsenal's worst league finish in 25 years. However, it is believed that Arsenal will make extensive changes in the transfer market, while it has been reported that the Gunners could make at least 5 signings this summer. So, with this in mind, how would I spend £250 million in the summer transfer window? Which positions would I prioritize? How much would I spend? And finally, which players would I sign? First and foremost, let's take a look at Arsenal's current squad and the areas that need urgent addressing. For the majority of last season, Mikel Arteta set up his side in a 4-2-3-1 formation. This is how I currently see the Arsenal team in terms of the positions where Arsenal are strongest. Leading the line, Arsenal have captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, with Bukayo Saka and Nicolas Pepe out wide. Gabriel Martinelli, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Alexander Lacazette all serve as strong options off the bench in those exact positions as well. In the midfield area, we have Thomas Partey. At the back, Kieran Tierney and Gabriel Magalhaes are the strongest defenders in the squad, and in goal, Bernd Leno makes up the 7 players. Looking at this, it is clear that there are still 4 positions that Arsenal needs strengthening. Those positions are a right-sided centre-back, a right-back, a box-to-box midfielder, more commonly known as a number 8, and a number 10. If Arsenal are to make a push for European football next season, those are the 4 key areas of the pitch that I believe need to be urgently addressed. So, with this in mind, who are the players Arsenal should focus on, and how much should they be spending on each signing? Before we begin our transfer splurging, we have to acknowledge that Arsenal have already committed to a few signings to begin the window with. As we highlighted in videos last week, Arsenal are already in advanced talks with both Ben White and Albert Sambi Lokonga, and it looks more and more likely that they will become Arsenal's first and second signings of the summer. White is expected to cost around £50 million, while Lokonga should cost Arsenal around £15 million. This would set Arsenal's spending at £65 million, meaning that we still have £185 million to now work with. While White would instantly slot into Arsenal's 11 as a right-sided centre-back, Lokonga is more of a long-term signing and can't be expected to contribute from the get-go. Therefore, there are still 3 key areas that Arsenal need to address, including a right-back, a number 8, and the number 10 position. At the right-back position, Arsenal have been linked with numerous players, including the likes of Tyler Adams from Red Bull Leipzig, Max Aarons from Norwich, and Tyrique Lampty from Brighton. One of the appealing factors about Adams is that he can play as both a right-back and as a central midfielder, what makes him a good fit for Arteta's inverted fullback system. However, it's been reported that Leipzig are reluctant to allow Adams to leave, especially given the high-profile departures of centre-backs Dayot Upamecano and Ibrahima Konate. Adams is also under long-term contract, and the likelihood of him joining Arsenal is very low. Max Aarons is another name that Arsenal have been linked with in the past. Aarons is said to be valued at around £30 million. However, with Norwich's return to the Premier League, as well as the fact that Aarons still has 3 more years on his current contract, it is very unlikely that the Canaries will consider selling their first-choice right-back. This leaves us with Tyrique Lampty, the talented wingback who excelled for Brighton in the first half of this season before getting injured and missing the rest of the campaign. Lampty, like Aarons, is valued at around £30 million, but considering the right-back just signed a long-term contract until 2025, Lampty may cost upwards of £40 to £45 million. Lamptey's attacking capabilities and ability to switch between the right-back and right wing-back positions would suit Arteta's system. Furthermore, at just 20 years of age, Lamptey fits Arsenal's timeline for their rebuild. If Arsenal sign Lamptey, it should cost around £45 million, which would now set the budget at £140 million, with Arsenal needing to still sign a number 8 and a number 10. At the number 8 position, Arsenal have been linked with a few notable names, including Sander Berge from Sheffield United, Ruben Neves from Wolves, and Yves Bissouma from Brighton. While Neves and Berge are both effective midfielders, their style is more similar to the likes of Granit Xhaka. I believe that the dynamic of Arsenal's midfield has been too static and too slow for far too long now, and that if Arsenal are to sign a number 8, it should be a player who has the qualities to build on the arrival of Thomas Partey last summer and add more dynamism to the middle third of the pitch. With this in mind, I believe that Yves Bissouma would be the ideal fit next to Thomas Partey in Arsenal's midfield. While Bissouma is said to be valued at around £40 million, the likelihood of Brighton letting their number one asset go for that price is very low. If Ben White was sold for £50 million, you can expect Bissouma to be sold for around £60 million. This would leave Arsenal's budget at £80 million, with only one key position left to address: the number 10 spot. As reported in an earlier video, Arsenal's two main targets for the number 10 position were Martin Odegaard and Emiliano Buendia, but seeing that both players have committed their futures elsewhere, this means that Arsenal will have to reconsider their options for that number 10 position. One player who has recently been mentioned is none other than James Maddison. It has been recently reported that despite signing a new contract last summer, James Maddison's camp has not closed the door on the idea of him leaving Leicester this summer, after the Englishman had a turbulent season where he struggled with both injury and consistency. It is understood that members of Maddison's camp have notified Arsenal that the player is open to a new challenge if a suitable offer arrives, and the question is now whether or not Leicester would be willing to sell. 2 years ago, the idea of Leicester offloading one of their brightest talents and most influential players would have been unthinkable. However, over the past 2 years, Leicester have evolved under Brendan Rodgers, and Maddison is nowhere near as important to this Leicester side as he once was. In fact, for long periods of this season, Maddison was subjected to a role off the bench, as Leicester often lined up in a 3-4-3 formation. Plus, the growth of Harvey Barnes and Kelechi Iheanacho has seen Maddison fall out of favour, and it is somewhat understandable why the player may be seeking a move elsewhere. Despite the fact Maddison has somewhat fallen out of favour at Leicester, he is still considered a highly valuable asset by the club. If Arsenal were to sign Maddison, it could cost them between £50 to £60 million. Assuming Leicester would play hardball with one of their direct rivals, we can assume it would cost Arsenal the whole £60 million for James Maddison. With the signing of Maddison, this would now take Arsenal's budget to £20 million. Now that we've filled all 4 positions that needed addressing with the likes of Ben White, Tyrique Lampty, Yves Bissouma, and James Maddison, now we can start to fill spots where Arsenal lack depth. The 3 key areas where Arsenal lack depth are left back, goalkeeper, and centre midfield. With the signing of Lokonga, that covers the midfield area, but Arsenal would still need cover in both the left back and goalkeeper positions. Matt Ryan would be an ideal signing, having already spent the second half of the season with the Gunners. He provides stability, experience, and leadership, every quality needed from a backup goalkeeper. If Arsenal were to sign Ryan on a permanent deal, that should cost the Gunners around £5 million. In the left-back area, Arsenal are said to be interested in Scottish left-back Josh Doig. The 19-year-old had a breakthrough season at Hibernian, and there are various clubs said to be interested in the left-back, including none other than Arsenal. If Arsenal were to sign Doig, that should cost the Gunners another £5 million. Last but not least, with £10 million left in our £250 million budget, I believe Arsenal should make small donations to up-and-coming Arsenal channels, specifically the Inside Arsenal YouTube channel. In all seriousness though, that would be how I'd spend Arsenal's supposed £250 million budget. Returning to where we began, this would be my no-look Arsenal lineup, with White, Lamptey, Bissouma, and Maddison coming into the side. On the bench, we'd add Matt Ryan, Josh Doig, and Albert Sambi Lokonga to fulfill depth. Although unlikely, if Arsenal were to make these transfers a reality, I could very much see Arsenal competing for a European place next season. The hope amongst Arsenal fans is that this could very well be the summer that changes Arsenal's fortune for the future. And with these transfers, that could very well be the case.